won a cash tournament with this special deck as seen in front of you. I tweeted about it. I'm trying to get used to using X after the tournaments because I'm not gonna lie, I don't really use Twitter that much. I keep on forgetting that I even have a X account, so please follow me there. And if you want to see how I did it, meaning like explain how I went through the tournament, please stick around. I would truly appreciate it. So, welcome to my little tournament recap. Anyways, the point that I want to make throughout this entire video is that we're going to go through matchups. We're going to go through just what happened and how I would navigate it if I did it all over again. So, my first matchup was against my teammate Aaron. Speaking of being on a team, I am on Team Peach. Please go check out their social media. So, I'm against Aaron. He was playing Poison or Chaladon, and I knew right away, I was just like, okay, you have to hope that he doesn't donk you. And also, I did not have a lot of practice with the matchup, even on live. I just don't know whether to go first or second. I know our Chaladon prefers to go first, but I prefer going second, so I guess I went second. So, the point that I wanted to do was hope that I get a 110 HP Pokemon like my Genesect or Munkidori so he doesn't KO me right away. And I'll be honest, I was just a little bit terrified of what could go wrong, and everything that happened went wrong. So the point that I'm trying to say is that he got everything. He got Carmine, he got Squawkabilly, he got the booster capsule and all that. And what went wrong was one of my little basics like Gimmighoul or Dreepy was in the front. And he got the first prize immediately, and then I didn't have the best setup turn 2. So I did fall behind. So I only had a couple of Gholdengo on the bench. Like, I was playing so hard to catch up. I was surprised that I even got a Gholdengo setup game 1, round 1. And once I did, I started to bounce back, and then I had a difficult choice to make at the end. Was it to counter catch your Brute Bonnet or try to KO one of the 2 prizers? So the point that I was trying to do was, okay, if I knock out our Chaladon, the Blood Moon Ursaluna will just hit me for the KO. Will I have to just hit the Ursaluna, and like, our Chaladon's already prepared, so it's like a double-edged sword. So I decided to go with the Brute Bonnet, and hopefully Aaron doesn't get the KO on me. And the only way he could do that is to get another Brute Bonnet and Ancient Booster Capsule, which he kind of wasted all of those at that point, or get like a damage modifier like Black Belt or Kieran. Turns out he draws, gets Fezandipiti. Kieran was the last card, and he takes game 1. Game 2, I had a better setup. Basically, I had my wish of getting one of my bigger basics so he doesn't get the 2 prize KO right away. I ended up taking game 2 because it was like 2-2-2-2-2. So that was good for me. And game 3 ended up in a halt. I mean, like, halt meaning like it was my turn, and there was no way I could get 6 prizes. There was no way he could get the 6 prizes in the turn 0, 1, 2, whatevs. And it ended up being a tie. So after the tie, a lot of other people tied, so it was like a toss-up of who was going to face who. And my second opponent was none other than my least favorite deck of the format, Guardy. So Guardy was a tough matchup. Like, every time I face a Guardy, even online, I'm just like, why? Just why? But overall, I was just, okay, calm down. All you need to do is get Genesect so they don't either have the Brilliant Blunder or Secret Box to have that acceleration that they're used to having. So the point that I'm trying to say is that get Genesect down and get Gholdengo down as soon as possible, and try to take the 2 prizes, the first 2 prizes, like I normally do, or wish that Jamming Tower was not prized. Turns out I got all the wishes coming true, especially since my opponent ends up like taking things for granted because I started off with a lone Dreepy, and I think part of him thought that I was playing only one, like, a pure Dragapult deck, but I was just like, bada bing, bada boom, we go for Gholdengo. And and then he was just like, oh no, I need to mention other roles, but it was too little too late because I ended up bossing the Ralts and then getting the KO on that. And unfortunately for him, I forgot to add this detail, he was missing his Evo, so it's not like he could just evolve in a Guardy immediately the following turn. Because I didn't remember whether, like at the time, I didn't, like, okay, he might rare candy, and turns out he relies on Evo more than rare candy. So that was the analysis, and I just ended up bossing the Ralts, and it's like impossible for him to set up to the point that he's like, I'll evolve into Zoroark and hope that I can come back from this. And after I knocked out Zoroark, there was no way he could come back from it, even if he did Itchy Pollen and all that. Game 2 was a little bit of a different story. Like, I started off with the perfect setup, meaning like Gimmighoul's in the front. I end up TM Evoing, and my opponent as well, he has a better setup, but not enough. Not as much as I do with my basics, my Drakloak, and like he gets to use his ace spec early this time, so it's not like I could just Genesect and prevent the Psychic from being in the discard pile because he does play Brilliant Blender. So I was just like, okay, bench anything but Genesect. I don't care if I get Munkidori, I just need to have a good setup. So the thing was is that I get the first two prizes. His setup was not the best to the point that he just like Psychic Embraces on Guardy and hopes that I can't hit it for a KO. And I ended up playing Energy Search Pro, saving the Energy Search Pro for the Guardy and knocking it all out for one big one-hit KO. It was fantastic, and it felt so good to be close to beating a Guardy. I ended up just destroying him to the point that he just puts up Lily's Clefairy, hoping that I don't one-hit KO it, but me being me, I saw 190 HP, and I forgot that, like, not forgot, but, like, I didn't know Lily's Clefairy was weak to metal, so I played it out, like, I have superior energy retrieval, attached to Gholdengo, like, on the front, and then just hit it. Like, I just hit the, Lily's Clefairy. One of the guys called it out. I really did feel bad. It was like an unintentional BM. I really did not know it was weak to metal, but we moved past that, and then we went to the next round, which was against my teammate Oscar. He was playing the Poison Donk or Chaladon deck like Aaron was, and it was just a pure nightmare game 1. I had the worst start on the planet. I could not do anything. Like, Oscar had the perfect start. He ended up, like, getting the Poison Donk on one of my little basics, and then just, like, had it all. And unfortunately, I couldn't set up. I didn't have an Arven. All I had was the worst fear imaginable. All the energy in the world in my hand. And all I did was top deck an energy, and I'm like, Oscar, I'm done. We just scoop up and go to game 2. And then we ended up going to game 2, and I had a better start with Munkidori in the front. But this time I decided to go first. I honestly thought going first would be better because of the fact that you can't easily get the Poison Donk as much. Meaning, like, if I started off with Munkidori, like, hypothetically, that was what was going through my head. Hypothetically, if I started off with Genesect or Munkidori, it's not like he could donk me fully in, like, 1 turn versus the 2 turns, if that makes sense. So, I stuck with the plan. I had Munkidori in front. I tried to set up my little basics, and it was a closer game, but the strategy I came up with was the fact that Okay, Oscar poisons himself along with my Pokemon. I know I get poisoned really badly due to Pecharunt's ability, Perilous Jungle, and all that, but Oscar gets poisoned, meaning like the Pecharunt will be poisoned, he gets poisoned, and then I have to do Adrenabrain math. So Pecharunt had 10 damage, and then I Adrenabrain 10 off, and then I have the Gholdengo set up, and then I just attach an energy and hit it, and then let the poison deal with itself. So that was my strategy the entire game. So that's what happened with his Archaludon as well. I employed the same strategy over and over, using the poison to my advantage to the point that he cannot get whatever he wants. So, I mean, he cannot literally get the Fezandipiti. So it was just that. It was another close game. Same with the game 1 with Aaron. It all came down to, okay, do I knock out the Archaludon and hope that they don't have it like that, or do I knock out the Brute Bonnet and hope that Oscar doesn't have a boss? Turns out Oscar just top decks boss, and that's my first real loss of the day. So my record is 1 against the Guardy player, 1 loss with Oscar, the Poison Archaludon, and then the first Poison Archaludon with Aaron. So the 4th match was against the Terrabox, and game 1 I'm like, I am so behind because I was not having a fabulous start versus my opponent. Had Terrapagos. It was the Terrabox deck. I was really grateful that he did not get Wellspring Ogerpon, or else I would have just been like, oh no, the entire time. So I really thought I was going to lose against Terrabox as well. However, I end up getting the Gholdengo. I start making it rain, and then he's stuck in the active. Like, he ends up just trying to stall me with the Ogerpon. And I have like a good setup. I have multiple Gimmighouls, Gholdengos at that point. I have my Draklocks, and I have a Genesect with a tool, so he can't really do anything. Like, I don't think he played the Sparkling Crystal that game. So the point that I am trying to make is that I try to use all my resources to my advantage. It was a really close game 1. I went back from it, and I'm not gonna lie, game 1 almost terrified me because I had the perfect 4 prize KO with hitting Ogerpon with Dragapult, putting 1 on Fezzy. Maybe I could boss counter catch it the following turn, and then just trying my way, doing my best to knock out the Ogerpon as well. So I had a lot of outs, and then I forgot Lily's Clefairy existed in Terrabox, so I'm crossing my fingers, hoping that he does not have like an Energy Switch Psychic combo, and turns out he whiffs at the end, despite having a Noctowl engine. So the other thing that I'm going to say about game 2 is it practically went the same way. He's trying to knock out the trying to slowly do it, stall me with Cornerstone. I just have my bosses keeping track of my Gust with Counter Catcher. I even prolonged the turn with the Ogerpon. When Ogerpon was in front, I just prolonged it, and I just was hoping that he does not have a Briar, because it was 2, and then he was falling behind. He had 3 prizes, I had 2, and with Briar you can easily knock me out with Pikachu. He had Pikachu while I just had simple Gholdengo. So what ended up happening was he doesn't have Briar, he just knocks out my Gholdengo, and I just have the boss, and we end up destroying this Terrabox deck. The final match of the day ended up being against Dylan, my teammate Dylan. I was a little bit terrified. That was probably the scariest match, pre-match, oh my gosh, who am I facing? And then you find out. I was mainly scared because he's the one that inspired me to do the Dragapult Choose It and try to perfect it over time. So it was oh gosh, how this is gonna be scary for me. So my plan of action was to just hope to get my Genesect before him. Like, we reviewed each other's list before the tournament as well. He knew my exact 60 versus I had to inference, like use my inference skills to be like, okay, he's telling me he doesn't play Jamming Tower versus I play Jamming Tower, for example. That was the main difference between our lists. So it was like a 57 to 59 mirror match. Like, it was crazy. So how I navigated it was try to take the first single prize and force him to evolve into a 2-prizer, and that's what I did. So Dylan won the coin flip, got second. I basically had a good setup with like Buddy-Buddy Poffin, so I had a full bench plus the Genesect and attach the energy. It's not like he could do anything like get an Arven pretty easily with Energy Search Pro. So what he did was use Arven, get the Buddy-Buddy Poffin, and just evolves the Gholdengo on the bench. And for me, like a couple turns later, I just slowly attached to the Drakloak, hoping that he doesn't get everything he needs right away. And turns out he didn't, and I just go into Drakloak and knock out the Gimmighoul, and then he's forced to use energy resources, like use his Gholdengo to put up front, and then it was just like I had game from there because I had the resources and I was able to use my Energy Search Pro versus he didn't. Game 2, it ended up being a taste of my own medicine, but I still found a way to navigate through it using minor errand running, trying to get my energy in a hand and doing it over time while slowly attaching to Drakloak like game 1. And it was kind of like a meme match. He had the continuous coin toss Gimmighoul versus I had the minor errand running Gimmighoul, and I'm trying to multitask and try to get a Drakloak set up. And I ended up getting the first KO again, and then Dylan ended up having to do 2-prizers, so I hit and hit and hit despite having no Energy Search Pro. So it was just a good win, and we reached top 8. Top 8, when we got to that, it was a completely different story. We were offered the chance to split. I honestly did not know you could split prizes. Like, I thought it was just like, we have to fight it out, we have to see who's really the best in this tournament. But turns out you could split prizes. I did not know that, honestly. Like, I know people ID, but splitting prizing was a new concept to me. So we had the chance to stop at top 8 and then fight it out, and then like talk among ourselves of who's going to be the winner on paper. And like, I was willing to split. 7 out of 8 people wanted to split. My opponent didn't want to split. So we had to play out the top 8 despite it being a little bit late, even for the card shop. So we hit, like, I essentially had to face an Enzor. A lot of people were telling me I had a disadvantage, but I practiced this match so much on the app, the Pokemon TCG Live app, that I relatively knew what to do. So he went first, and I'm just like thinking, okay, hopefully I have the chance to TM Evo so he doesn't have the snipe damage with the Darmanitan, because I know that's going to be his angle. So essentially he hits the, like, he doesn't just itchy paw at me, like, he just leaves Zoroark in the front. Like, it was a pretty, like, back and forth match. So yeah, he does use he does use the Badoo because he is struggling, and he doesn't really get Zoroark until turn 3-ish, but I'm already on my way to 2 prizes, and he's using Darmanitan to knock me out, which is a really good strategy. However, I was very careful to have like a limited bench and then start benching stuff late game, because you would want to go for the massive hit of backdraft that point, not necessarily go for the snipe if you're the Zoroark person. But that's my experience when play testing with it. But so I got game 1. Game 2, it wasn't even close. He didn't even get 2 prizes with the game because he just did not have anything. And he resorted into Beduling, which did stall me for a turn. However, it did not take long for me to like have Jamming Tower or Genesect down and having whatever I want, like use recon, have like one Drakloak for recon directive and have multiple Gholdengos. So it was just like bam, 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 and then afterwards, like one turn, he just uses the backdraft for weakness, tries to knock me out, but he just really falls short because I anticipated it by trying to go for the little guys, so I don't get as much energy in the discard pile, so he doesn't exploit Gholdengo's weakness. So that was the main thing that happened. So I was just basically picking off the little guys. Sorry if that's a bad phrase, but it's true. That's what I did in order to not be exploited by Darmanitan's hand. So like once he hit that 180 damage, I just Turo'd, and then that was just like the end of it. Like he tried to counter catcher a Gimmighoul because I ended up wanting another Gholdengo. I mean, it could have not worked for me, but I got the rescue board from the prizes, so I was just like, please don't Iono me, please don't Iono me, and he didn't. So I just literally had game like attach rescue board, attach energy, try to find the rest of my superior energy retrievals, and then that was GG from there. And yeah, that was my top 8 match, and then it was a matter of top 4, and we were discussing it, and we were all open to splitting it due to the fact that we were all tired, and they were and some of the people were traveling 2 hours away, but they wanted to know who the winner was, and the card shop was closing, so we had to decide whether to just play it out or just split the prizing, and we split the prizes, but we had to have someone on paper, so like we were like fighting for an invite at this point to our local card shop tournament that like it's a special event for people that won. And we're just like, okay, so one person already has an invite, one person in top 4 has an invite, while the other one did not care because he's not from my area. So it was a teammate, Cody, and I, we were basically like thinking, okay, how are we gonna do this? And we both just decided, let's high roll for it. Whoever gets highest, best 2 out of 3 wins. Turns out I end up winning because he got the first roll, I got the second, and then literally Cody was just like, okay, for the marbles, rolls it, and then your girl won, got her picture on like the website, and got a picture on the card shop website, and like on even just the team website. So yay, good for me. And yeah, that was my tournament run. Sorry that it was a bit long. I was just really excited to share my story, and I hope that you have the opportunity to try out my list too. Like, try out my list and see how it works for you. So please like and subscribe. It will really mean a lot, and it will really help the channel grow and make my content grow, because I see a future doing the channel for a long period of time, and I will see you soon for more fun. Thank you.